really delicious and simple recipe for you today. They are keto pecan pie bars. So if you are like me and you love pecan pie, you're probably missing it around this time of year. I love getting a slice during Thanksgiving or really anytime. But these are a great substitute. I fully kind of encourage you to eat whatever it is you want during the holidays. Moderation is key, but this is really such a good substitute that I highly recommend making it. And it's so easy and so fast. You can make it ahead of time. It doesn't require baking. And there's also an ingredient in there that you can switch out to make it fully vegan as well for all of your vegan guests or family members. So what we're going to do is we're going to gather up our ingredients. I'm going to put them in the description box below, and we are going to get started on this delicious, easy dessert. Guys, so the first thing we're going to make is the crust. So we want to mix everything together in a bowl. It's that simple. So we're going to do 2 cups of almond flour, and I have 365 brand, which I really like. It's a nice cheap alternative to something like Bob's Red Mill or any of the other more expensive brands. And then we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Do yourselves a favor, guys, and buy the Ceylon cinnamon. It is just a more robust cinnamon flavor. It's hard to describe, but it's got a little bit more of a spicy taste to it, and I absolutely love it. It's fantastic for baking. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of that. Oops, okay. There's 1. There's 2. I don't mind having a little extra in my baking. I love cinnamon. And then we're gonna do a 1/3 cup powdered sugar substitute. I'm gonna use stevia, which isn't technically powdered, but it tends to kind of not be as grainy as monk fruit or erythritol, however you say it. It tends to be not as grainy as those. So we're going to do a 1/3 cup of that. And then this particular recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of butter, but I'm going to actually use coconut oil. Use whatever you have on hand. If you're vegan, obviously you want to go for the coconut oil. I am going to put some butter in the filling, but you could also use coconut oil for that. They're really interchangeable, so don't adjust the measurements to compensate for, you know, more oil. Okay, so let's mix that up really good. So it's as simple as just making sure this is all thoroughly mixed and well incorporated. And then it's as simple as just pressing it into an 8x8 casserole dish. You're gonna wanna have parchment paper lining the casserole dish. So the reason being, because this is pretty sticky and you wanna make sure that it slides out once these are frozen. And it's just easier to do if you have the parchment paper. So this looks pretty good. It's gonna be a little chunky, which is fine, because what we're gonna do is we're going to press it all together. So I have my little casserole or baking dish. I'm just gonna pour it in here. Voila, simple as that. That is the crust. How easy was that? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the filling and pour it over the top. Okay, you guys, we're gonna work on the filling. It's just as easy as the crust. We wanna start with 1 tablespoon of butter. Just drop it in there, and I have it on medium-high heat. We wanna get these all melted together. Next, we are going to do 3/4 cup of unsweetened almond milk. And then we are going to do a 1/2 cup of sugar substitute of your choice. I'm using monk fruit. I really like this one. Stevia is a little cheaper, but this one to me just tastes exactly like real sugar. We are going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of that delicious Ceylon cinnamon. And then finally, we are going to do 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 teaspoon of molasses, and 1/2 teaspoon of sugar-free maple syrup. You can substitute the 1/2 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of molasses and 1 teaspoon of sugar-free maple syrup. And you can do 2 teaspoons of sugar-free maple syrup or keto maple syrup if you have it. That's fine too. The molasses adds a negligible amount of carbs, but it's tasty and it's actually really good for you. So we're gonna mix that all together and make sure it's fully incorporated. This is going to be our ooey gooey filling. There is one ingredient we haven't added yet, and that is the gelatin. Now this is the one ingredient where you can switch it out for something that's vegan, which is xanthan gum. And I actually went to 2 different stores and I couldn't find it. And gelatin is a really good substitute. You could also use agar. There's a couple of other substitutes. Flax, chia, I can list them down below. I like to really encourage you to use what you have on hand and not have to buy, some fancy ingredient or run out last minute. Okay, so now that this is fully incorporated, we are going to add in our gelatin or xanthan gum. It is 1.5 teaspoons that we're going to be adding. And so now what we're doing is we want to get this to a slight boil. So crank up that heat a little bit. And basically all we're doing is we're stirring this until it becomes a little thicker, because we really want that gooey consistency for our pecan pie bars. Here's the final product before adding it to our crust layer. I went ahead and I added an extra 1/2 teaspoon of gelatin to the mixture. I wasn't getting quite the consistency I wanted, so the total amount of gelatin mixture you're gonna add is 2 teaspoons. So we're gonna pop that over our crust and see how it looks. That's it. So the next part is the easiest. We just have to let it set. So we are going to put that pecan pie concoction in the refrigerator for roughly 3 hours, and then take it back out and cut it into mini pie bars. So I'll see you then. Okay, you guys, it has been 3 hours and our pecan pie mixture is finally set and it's ready to be cut. And here's what it looks like. Delicious. Okay. So I'm gonna cut roughly 2-inch by 2-inch squares. These are pretty rich, so don't feel like you're gypping anybody by only cutting really small squares. Oh, I'm so excited. They look really, really good, you guys. Oops. Let's get a little square out of here so you guys can see what it looks like. Using a spatula would be the best, but I'm a little lazy and used my knife. Look at how delicious that looks. Little mini pie bar. It's really good. So, it's still really, really sweet. It's not like a sickly sweet, like some pecan pie can be. Make sure, if you're really not a fan of coconut, be sure to use butter, even if it's vegan butter, if you want to make them vegan in the crust, because you actually can taste quite a bit of the coconut oil in the crust, which I don't mind at all. I love coconut, but that's just something to take note of. Anyway, leave a comment below if you have tried these or you're thinking of trying them. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to let me know. And I'm going to enjoy my pecan pie bar, and I will see you guys later. Happy Thanksgiving.